Okay, good morning. So welcome to our webinar on the basics of Google Ads and what I'll call it a lot pay-per-click advertising. So we're going to go through some of the interesting parts of Google Ads. I mean, there's so many tools and so many ways of things to use on Google Ads that we can't possibly cover it all. So we're going to cover the high spots today, and hopefully you'll learn some things, and it'll be interesting for you. So here's three questions that almost all of our prospects ask us when we first start talking to them. And I think it's relevant to build just a tiny bit of background into why Google Ads and where it works for you. So people want to know, customers want to know, how do they tap into the internet to grow faster? We pretty much only work with companies that really want to grow. And then they're always frustrated with it, and it's complicated, and clearly Google Ads can be complicated. And everybody wants to know why their business isn't found and what do they need to do to be found on Google, on the search engines, and principally Google. And so those things are driving people when we start discussions with them. So there's three takeaways that I'd like everybody to get from this presentation. One, Google Ads has a lot of potential. Google makes billions of dollars on Google Ads. We know it works. We know that it doesn't work for everyone, but we know it works for a lot of people. And so it's worth it for you as a business owner, as a marketing professional, to explore when those cases are where Google Ads is a necessary thing. We want to talk about budget considerations. There's always two key questions there that we do want to talk about. That is, how do I control how much I spend on Google Ads, and how much should I spend? So we'll talk about that. First one's pretty easy. Second one's a little more difficult. And then the last thing is I'd like everybody to understand that it's fairly difficult to do Google Ads, do pay-per-click in general, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Google, to do that by yourself. We get a lot of good clients because they've tried Google Ads. In fact, most everybody that we've talked to probably in the last 4 or 5 years has at least tried Google Ads one time. Didn't particularly work out. They were either doing it themselves, God forbid, or doing it with some internal marketing person. And I wouldn't say it requires a full-time specialist to do Google Ads, but it does have you do need somebody who's educated on it and who studied it. So just throwing up a few Google Ads and giving it a whirl is probably not going to be too successful. Okay, so here's some of the things we're going to cover today. Pretty much in this order. What's important about it. We've talked a little about that. We'll talk a little more. We'll talk about some of the control you have over Google Ads, and that's one of the most beautiful things about Google Ads in general, is that there is a tremendous amount of control you have. And unlike search engine optimization, where you have fairly limited control of where your ads show up and that sort of thing. You can control where, not ads, but where your rankings, where your descriptions show up. You can control that, but you can't really control on any given day where you show up in those organic results. So control is a great thing of Google Ads. We'll talk a little about the structure of the campaigns. That's pretty simple. We talked about budget. Landing pages are an important concept to understand. Conversion tracking is important. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a little about extensions. There's just tremendous options there to get more real estate on a page. And then we'll talk a little about keyword research. And I want to show an ROI calculator that we use with prospects and clients that you're welcome to have, if you'd like it. So those are things we are going to cover. I want to put Google Ads in perspective for you. This is our 6-step process. Hasn't really changed in the 15 years that we've been doing digital marketing. So it starts with a strategy, a business strategy, a marketing strategy, a digital marketing strategy. And then the action occurs on a website. So it's either a website page, a landing page for paid ads or other things, an email landing page, or a social media page. But there's some website property where the action occurs. But you've got to drive traffic to that website. And that's where pay-per-click or Google Ads comes in, is one of the key ways. There's also search engine optimization and social media. Then you've got to convert that traffic. So once if you pay an ad to go to your landing page, you've got to convert that visitor to either an email lead or a phone call. And then most of these leads are fairly cold, unless you're in a business that's like emergency services, like heating and air conditioning company, or emergency boat engine repair, or whatever it might be. Unless you're in that kind of service, these people, they're just researching. They may not really be ready to talk to you, so you need to retain them for a long time, month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. That's email marketing, social media, videos, that sort of thing. And then wrapped around the outside in our 6th step of the process is analytics, testing, and a constant improvement process. So you can see that Google Ads really only provides one small part of a holistic, integrated digital marketing program, but it is an important part. So here's some data. This just shows you a little bit about how we go about doing keyword research. So we use 2 tools principally. It's fairly straightforward. We use Google Keyword Planner, which is part of AdWords itself, and is how you get access to it. We also use SEMrush, which is an SEO tool actually, but it contains tools for analyzing where people are advertising online, how much they're spending, what keywords they're using. I can actually see the ads that they're running. And it's particularly beneficial for looking at your competitors and what keywords, what ads they're running on Google Ads. You can see that in SEMrush, so it's a really good tool. In this case, we ran some keywords for a client that was distributing stainless steel products, principally stainless steel bar kind of products and specialty steels. So these were some keywords, and you can see the keywords on the left. The total number of searches per month in the USA was in the 2nd column. Competition, high, medium, or low, 3rd column. And then that 4th column shows how much each click might cost you to be at the top of the page in the Google search results. The data also shows us what it can take to be on the bottom of the page, so you get a range of that. These are actually fairly low-cost clicks. I mean, many of our clients are paying $7, $15 per click, which gets a little more sporty, but these are fairly low. So that's keyword research. What we're looking for when we're looking for keywords are keywords that have a lot of traffic. So stainless steel bar would be a good keyword for us. In terms of business to business kinds of companies, 1,600 searches a month is pretty good. In terms of consumer companies, maybe not so good. But we also would like to have that be a medium or a low competition. So stainless steel bar is a fairly high competition. It's going to take more work to get your ads to work, or to get search engine optimization to work. And we want that keyword to be very profitable, very relevant to the company. So in this case, stainless steel bar is a perfect is a perfect keyword. It's worth working on, even though it's a little more difficult. So here's what those search engine results pages look like. And this was for stainless steel bar. Just show you a few of these. At the top, you've got shopping ads. So that means that tells me it's more of a consumer type thing, that people might be looking for a stainless steel bar that they could go to Home Depot or buy, or this thing you can see from Metals Depot for $1.53. That's not what our client sells. I mean, their average price per sale is up in the thousands. So, we're a little bit off there. So that tells me that there is a lot of consumer play for this same keyword, which is never a good thing. But then we've got a text ad, which is where we work primarily, because of business to business is primarily what we use in our text ads. And so we'll talk about what's inside those text ads, but you can see stainless steel bar shows up there. That's the keyword they were looking for. Stainless steel is bolded down at in the description part of the ad, and then they've got some ad extensions underneath that. So their ad's taken up quite a bit of real estate. There's a pretty good chance it'll get clicked on. And then underneath that, on this particular search, we had local results. Home Depot shows up. So again, that tells me this is a consumer play as well. We have to be extra careful. And below that comes the organic results, and possibly more ads at the bottom. So that's how the whole thing is laid out, you can see. So here's what's inside a Google ad. Let's talk about some things. So the URL is fastmetals.com. That could have an extension on there. If I wanted to, if you wanted to, you could put a .com/stainless bar. That makes it a little more specific. It's got a phone number on it. That's a call extension. You can see it says stainless steel rod stock. So the search we did was stainless steel bar or I guess we did stainless steel rod for this one. So stainless steel rod, it has 2 headlines. You can actually put 3 in the back end. Google picks which 2 it wants to show, so you get some flexibility there. If it's a mobile device, you'll only see one of those headlines, the headline being this first line. Then you see 2 lines of description. Those are about 90 characters each. You can put two lines worth of sentences, little snippets in there for you. So you put that in there, and then the services and the bottom part, domestic materials, 20% off. Those are 2 ad extensions, and we'll talk about those in just a second. So that's the anatomy of an ad, and the more you can get in there, the more relevant it is. In this case, you can see all the bolded terms: stainless steel, rod, stainless. You want that in there. People know, yep, that's what I'm looking for. Click. Then you get a chance to convert them to a lead. Okay, so that was an ad. The next thing you control is the landing page. Now you can send them, in this case, if I go back to this for a second, this particular ad sent that visitor to a page in their e-commerce site. So they had a categories page about stainless steel rods, stainless steel rod stock is what they call it. And that was the category page in an e-commerce site. And that's where you went if you clicked on that ad. Very appropriate for e-commerce. In this case, it's a little different. This client of ours does not have an e-commerce site. So it's just a general B2B information site that we're trying to convert traffic on. And so this is what we call a landing page. So it's in the website, but it's not really found by navigation, normal navigation in the website. And there's no navigation off of this page, which is important. A lot of people fight us on that sometimes, but that's the best practice. So what we're trying to do on a landing page for a Google ad is a couple of things. Build trust, deliver the information that they ask for. So if they came looking for clean room manufacturing in this case, or clean room assembly, we're trying to tell them what we do in those areas, and then give them a clear call to action. You can see this page has a phone number, has a form to fill out, it has a button to click on, has a form later on, has a live chat that you can use to communicate with them. So we try to tell them what to do. They're on the page, they get the information, tell them what you want them to do. And we were trying to match up the search phrases that's important in Google Ads as well. So the more we have the kind of terms that we used in the keywords, the better. So when do Google Ads become important for you? First of all, they're only important if your prospects are actively looking for what you sell online, your products and services. If you're creating a new product, like I think one of our prospects, Chris, is online today, and he sells a product that nobody really thinks about too much. And so in that case, Google Ads may not be the perfect solution. There may be related terms that we can use, but we have to consider if nobody's looking for a certain new product, it's so whiz-bang new that nobody's looking for it, you have to use other approaches like display ads or LinkedIn or Facebook, that sort of thing. Google Ads, Google text ads particularly, may not be appropriate. Google display ads may be the perfect thing. So some other criteria though, when the ads become important is, I consider it the top 2 kind of work together. If SEO is not finished yet, the SEO typically takes a year or so to really start seeing results, or in some cases you may have terms that you'll never get ranked for. They're so competitive. The only way you'll ever get on the first page of Google is by paying for an ad. So in that case, Google Ads can be the right thing. In other cases, it's a strategic decision. Like I like to think of it as if you're running a business, consider a local business, and if you're in a great corner location where people know about you, they drive by you every day, they see you, you make that investment one time up front, and people know where you are for a long time after that. If you have a small shop out in the country and nobody ever drives by, you need to put up billboards in town to tell people to come out to your location or to give you a phone call. So that's like the difference between SEO and organic rankings, being that investment in the corner real estate, and Google Ads being investing in billboards, which trying to drive people off to your site because they didn't know about you. So those 2 things go together and make it one of the key things that Google Ads works for. Google Ads also very effective for seasonal types of products and services. If you're in the business that sells parts for, say, for construction equipment, and you know that over 50% of the construction work in the U.S. is shut down in the wintertime and starts back up in the spring, then you might want to run Google ads in February, March, April at a very high level, and then back off for the rest of the year, and then come back to next year. So same thing can work for special events. We've run Google ads for trade shows to drive people to webinars at trade shows. If you've got a new product to introduce and you don't have the SEO done and you're not ranked high for that new product, then you run Google ads. It's a perfect solution. And of course, if the return on investment is there, in other words, if you're making a good profit on the ads you're running, run more of them. That's pretty obvious. A lot of people miss that, though. You'd be surprised. So I promised a discussion of budget control. So first question is, how do I control the budget? And I can assure you, if you don't control the budget, if you don't work this, Google will spend as much as they possibly can, because they're in the business of spending more money, which means they make more money. So they're in the business of you spending more money. So the first thing you do is you choose a monthly budget, and we have our ways to do that. We'll talk a little about that. We recommend that you generate about 300 clicks a month. So we're moving towards a minimum budget for our clients of a couple thousand a month to make this effective. So you pick that monthly budget, though, and you pick it based on how much money you have to spend, the cash, but also on how many keywords, how many searches per month for those keywords, the cost for those keywords. All that goes into monthly budget. And then you'll actually set a daily spend rate for each campaign in your Google AdWords account. So that daily budget, Google doesn't, they're going to spend, say you've got a $30 a day budget for 1,000 a month, say 900 a month, $30 a day. If your clicks are $10 a piece, you may get 4 clicks one day, 2 clicks the next day, 5 one day, 3 in one day, and it's going to average out about $30 a day for 900 a month. It's going to usually be within 5 to 10% of that monthly budget you set. So you can't expect this to be exactly $900 every month. The last thing you do is you determine how much you need to spend to get your 300 clicks per month is start calculating what's the cost per click, what's the average going to be, how many conversions is that going to give me? That's real important. How many impressions and other things. And you look at all that data and you can set that monthly budget. So I know it's a little vague, but basically you pick a budget. It's got to be enough to get clicks so you can have data to test and make improvements. And then we'll control that on a daily basis, not a monthly basis. So here's the structure. I talked about some of these terms a little bit, but the three main pieces of Google Ads structure-wise is accounts, campaigns, and ad groups. So account is at the top level. Usually one company has one account. If it's a big global company that has multiple locations, multiple languages, that sort of thing, you may have multiple accounts. Particularly, you set the currency at the account level and some other top-level settings, but and those things can't be changed. So that's why there are occasions when you need multiple accounts in AdWords, in Google Ads. Campaigns are think of those as the higher level. A campaign might be for a specific set of products or a specific location. It's a specific idea you're trying to sell Google Ads in. So in campaigns, you set the locations. So that could be a single state, could be a single city, could be a DMA region, could be all the United States, could be the whole world, whatever. A lot of flexibility in terms of where you set location. It can be the time of day, the day of the week. You set daily budgets and campaign levels, and so there's a few other things, some demographics targeting. So campaigns are where a lot of high-level settings are set. So you typically have multiple campaigns inside an account. You might have 5, 10, 100, unlimited. And then an ad group, though, is a very small pod, if you will, of a set of keywords that are all totally related and ads focused on one thought. So in our case, we were talking about stainless steel bar. We would have 3 ads at least, all focused on stainless steel bar. One may say stainless steel rod, one may say stainless steel bar, one may call it stainless rod, that sort of thing. And then all those different versions of the keywords are the keywords in the ad group. So an ad group might have 5 to 10 keywords, doesn't need a lot more than that. 3 ads, one of the ads could be a responsive ad. That's another thing, we'll come back to it, but it gives Google more flexibility of what to run. But at the ad group level, you're setting keywords, ads, you're setting bids and how much you're willing to pay per click. So you can tell Google, I'm not going to pay more than $7 a click for this keyword, and they'll limit it to that. You may not get a lot of clicks, but they'll limit it. And then your strategy, the bid strategy, is set at the ad group level. It can be set at other levels, but it's basically set at the ad group level for how you want to bid. Do you want automatic bidding or manual bidding, that sort of thing? And it can be bidding based on conversions, not even on keywords. So a lot of flexibility there. So here's some things you can control in Google, and I think this is the joy and also the complication of Google Ads. Daily budget, your messaging, your landing pages, locations. Locations can be extremely small. You can set if you're a consumer company and you've got, say, Dick's Sporting Goods, you could set a radius around your Dick's Sporting Goods store and have your Google display ads and text ads, for that matter, only show up when somebody's within a mile of your store, and then the ads pop up. So there's a lot of flexibility here. Or you could put that little circle around your competitor's store. So when somebody goes into, Bassmasters or whatever it might be, your ad shows up over there, even though you're a competitor. So there's a lot of flexibility you can do. Again, used a lot more in the consumer world than what we do. So you can use things like keywords. Negative keywords are real important. In our case of stainless steel bar, we want to make sure we have negative keywords like cheap or free or small or tiny or whatever. So if that's not what we sell, we put in a negative keyword. It keeps that keyword from triggering an ad. Control the spend on a type of device. So if you think most of your people are on mobile, you can filter out people on desktops or vice versa. You can set different languages, ad rotations. You can pick your best performing ads and show those more often, or you can rotate them evenly, or you can let Google decide. There's a lot of options. Keywords have match types. They have exact match, where only exactly what you put in. If you say stainless steel bar and that's an exact match, then your ad won't show up if somebody says stainless steel green bar. Okay. You could have a phrase match, which would be, your ad might show up if you said, well, you could use the free example if you wanted to. If you didn't have the negative keyword and somebody put free stainless steel bar, your ad would show up if you were phrase match. And if you're a broad match, stainless steel bar, Google has the total flexibility to show your ad where it thinks it's relevant. So they could put, they could run your ad for somebody who, searches for stainless steel flat stock, and they say, oh, that's close enough, I need the money today. Google will run your ad. So that's how it goes. It's a lot of control, but also a lot of complexity. So then even more advanced options that we use occasionally, but not real often, are retargeting, display ads, some demographics, responsive ads, which Google gets to decide which headline, which descriptions go in. A lot of automatic bidding options. We use those sometimes. The conversion, if you're getting enough clicks and enough conversions, which is where that comes in, then you can let Google do automatic bidding, and it works really well. But you got to have a lot of data. You got to have a lot of clicks, or it just goes off haywire. There's big advertising platforms called demand-side platforms, DSPs. Those are for big consumer companies, principally, who are doing a lot of advertising across a broad range of platforms, and it all gets integrated there and automated, and et cetera. And I talked a little about the hyper local targeting. So there's a lot of little tricks and techniques you can do about that. So moving on just a little bit, conversion tracking is real important, and it's our bread and butter, because in B2B companies, we want a lead. We want either an email lead or a phone number, a phone call. And so that cost per lead is our most important metric. We look at impressions and we look at cost per click, but we don't really care about that. What we care about is the cost per lead, how many leads it takes me to turn into a sale, and is that profitability from that sale enough to cover the cost per lead? And so that, it's a pretty simple equation for us. So what you use is you use a tracking code that's set up for phone calls, for leads, for basically any action you want to call. Usually we're trying to get a conversion that we can call a raw lead. So it's a Google ad conversion linker script in Tag Manager that you set up, and you can set it up to trigger on any event you want to. We also do a lot of phone tracking, so you can track leads inside Google Ads, which we do a lot of, and you can also track it external to that. We use a tool that creates substitute phone numbers, and then we track that, roll it over to the company's normal phone number, and we can track that then for Google Ads from landing pages. We can use it for email marketing, all sorts of things. So phone tracking is something, if you're not doing that, you definitely should be doing phone tracking. So just a little bit on ad extensions. These are cool because they let you get more real estate, more things that might catch people's attention to click into your landing page. So site links are places to go on your website. So in this case, there's a page about pricing and packaging, a page about success stories. And so you can put those on there as site links, and then somebody clicks on that, they go out to those pages on your website. Callouts are more like things that are unique to your business. Those are the ones at the bottom, the family dentistry, the meet the doctors, those things. Structured snippets are a little bit different. They're very similar, except there's a fixed set of about 20 or so categories like types or that sort of thing that Google lets you put in. So in this case, they're selling hiking boots, the one at the bottom here. And you can see they say trail running boots, casual boots, slip-on sandals. Those are the types of shoes they sell. Call ad is pretty much mandatory. If you're not doing a call ad, something's wrong, because that puts a phone number up there in the ad like this one is. So you really should be using that. There's promotion ads, which are limited time specials you're running. So, in this case, 60% off deals shows up in there. Some of our clients use that. It's pretty rare. I don't think it's particularly appropriate for most of the people we work with, but we have used it at times. And then you can put prices in. So none of our clients put prices in, all kind of stodgy B2B companies, but you can. So, in this case, the company is selling bikes, and you can see that, the cheapest bike is 110 euros. So if you're not willing to pay that much, don't even bother us, because that's kind of our entry level. So prices can be good if what you sell is a price sensitive thing. So this is our ROI calculator. I just wanted to show this. As I said, we're happy to send it to you if you just shoot us an email or shoot Ben or Tiffany a chat note and say you'd like to see the calculator. We'll send you the spreadsheet for this. But this is how we calculate what the ROI is from Google Ads. You can do it for other things as well if you substitute a little. But you start with, you can either measure or assume how many websites visits you're going to get in a year. This data was done for a year. How many qualified leads from those? So we said, okay, 2% of those website visits we're going to turn into leads. Okay, that's a pretty low number, but if it's a big B2B company, and that may not be unreasonable. And then how many sales will you get from those leads? We estimated 10%. Most companies say 10 or 20%. If they get a lead, it's 10%, but that depends on the quality of the lead, right? I mean, some of these internet leads are not the highest quality we'd like to have. So our number we typically use for estimating purposes is 10%. So that gives you, next is, each company has to tell us, well, what's their revenue per sale? And we want to look over a couple of years. So if you got a one-time sale, that's fine. But if you've got, somebody comes looking for the stainless steel bar, and you get a new client, and now they're going to buy stainless steel bar every month for forever until you screw up, then we want that number. That's the number we want, is the revenue for that new lead, if you will. Should say revenue per new lead. And then the profit from that sale. So you've got to assume some profit margin. We assume 25% here. Just a place to start. Then you know the cost per click, or you can estimate that pay-per-click, cost per click, cost per visitor. That. And so you can roll up a total cost of what it's going to take for a year for what your budget is, basically. You've got to include what the management fee is, because a company like ours can't manage this for free. So, our minimum starts at 500, and then, there's typically a percentage per spend that gets added to that most of the time. And so that gives you a total projected investment. And you take that investment, work the ROI formula, the profit minus the investment divided by the investment gives you a net ROI. So this is an ROI for a big sale company. You know, they're making $100,000 for one sale. It's pretty easy to show a high ROI. If you're selling product that's $20 revenue per sale and $2 profit, it's not going to work out as good. And we use a metric. Usually, if you've got a product that's less than about $50 to $75 profit per sale, Google Ads are going to be tough for you because the numbers just aren't going to work out. So that's not an exact science, but certainly if your profit per sale is less than $50 per sale, you need to look really hard at how well Google Ads is going to work for you. So here's some tips. I'm going to finish with a few, we call them pro tips to your successful B2B Google Ads campaign. First is to focus on conversion and leads. And we find a lot of clients when we come work with them for the first time, they don't really work on conversion. They just want to know how many clicks they're getting and what the cost per click is, and that's all that's being managed. Second is generate enough clicks to get good data. And this is where we fall down and our clients fall down quite often, is we don't encourage enough data to get constant improvement to make it really work. So if you aren't generating that data, what you end up doing is you end up floundering around, making a lot of changes to your AdWords campaign. Some are good, some are bad, you don't really know. And it's like the old game, if statistics, if you just keep throwing darts, you don't have a direction, it's not going to work very good. Next one is real important. Don't let Google run your campaign. Google will try their best to give you advice. They have an automated system online in the admin section called recommendations. So they're going to recommend you increase your speed, or increase your spend. They're going to recommend that you add new keywords. A lot of it is not technically correct for your business. So and then they're going to have people call you and say, we're the Google account manager, and I hope there's nobody Google on here. I mean, and they mean well, and they can be helpful in some ways, but their focus is to help you spend more money on Google Ads, not necessarily to make more profit on this. So you have to be really careful with that. Next thing is to make a few high profit keywords work. So too many clients get all hung up on how many keywords. They want every keyword covered. They just focus down on the details of keywords and that sort of thing. Whereas what we really need to focus on is profitability and return on investment. So usually that's the 80-20 rule. Is most of the Google Ads success is going to be on the 20% of keywords that are high profit, easy to get some results on, and people are really looking for online. They want what you're selling. And the last thing is I don't know, I wouldn't call it a nit because I think it's very important, but a lot of our clients still disagree with us on this. I just want to put it out there. Advertise on your own company name. Even if you're found for your company name, put that Google ad up there and put it on top of your organic result, even if you're number one. We see a lot of companies that you search on the company name and they're down in the middle of the page somewhere, and they don't even have an ad up at the top of the page. So that's crazy. So run it on your company name. And also, if it's appropriate at all, and a lot of times it is, run the ads on your key competitors. So what you can do in AdWords is put your competitor in, their name in as a keyword. What you can't do is use their trademark name in your ad. So, if you're running that competitor ad, you just have to be careful that Google will filter out those ads. They won't let you run those, but they will let you use the competitor name as a keyword. You can run your ad, and when somebody searches on your competitor, your ad shows up. It's a very common thing, and really considered best practice. So that concludes the discussion. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you need some help with your growth, or you want to talk about AdWords or Google Ads, sorry, I can't resist. We do a lot of research on digital presence, a lot of research for companies before we actually start working with them. Please feel free, give us a call, shoot me an email, and go visit our website. So thank you very much. Any questions, Ben? Or?
No, it's all good. So, hang on, we did have one come in. How long does it quickly, or how quickly do you typically see results?
Well, Google, that's another joy of Google AdWords I didn't have in here, but I can have a Google AdWords account up and running in 2 to 3 days. It takes a day or two usually to get through Google's IT system, and there's some internal checks they run. Occasionally they'll have a person look at a site or look at ads, but you can have those up in a couple of days, and you should typically start seeing results, in, I would say inside 3 months if it's a big ad campaign. If it's a little, you'll start to see clicks. You'll start to see people coming into your landing pages within a couple of days. So, it can be very quick. You can turn it on and start. I just, I caution that if you don't give it at least 3 months, then you really haven't given it enough time. If you don't give it the budget to get the data and the time to analyze that data and do some constant improvement, probably not going to be that successful. But as far as getting it turned on, it's really quick. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I really appreciate the interest this morning, and we'll post this on YouTube. We'll send you a copy of it, and then I'll be making a highlight reel of the key points, so there's a short version of it if you want to share it with somebody else. But we appreciate your interest. Thank you very much.